Hope all of you are doing fine. I'm Sanchana and I will be, your IELTS trainer today. So throughout, if you have any doubts or, while we are doing the webinar, if there's anything that you want to ask, you can always put up your hand, or you can also, just drop it in the chat box. And by the end of the session, we will discuss on that. So today we are going to be doing an IELTS webinar on speaking topic part 2. So I hope you're all excited. I am assuming that all of you maybe are, IELTS aspirants. You all are trying to clear your IELTS exam, and that's why you're here. So later on, even if you have any doubts regarding the general IELTS session, you may go ahead and ask me. Okay, I hope you can all see the screen. Okay. So this is how your, Red Fox Education lessons look like. Now, for those who have just started, IELTS, I would like to tell you that IELTS is not as difficult as it seems. It's quite, simple if you have enough of practice. Okay. The key to IELTS is basically practicing. So that is what is most important. And, you just need the right person and the right atmosphere to practice. So IELTS is basically an exam that you have to give if you want to go to study abroad or to work abroad. You have two types of exams, academic and general. Most importantly, or, the major change between these two exams will be your writing part 1. But otherwise, even in your reading, you have, you have a change of passages. But the most evident change would be your writing task 1. Okay. But today we are going to be talking about speaking, and speaking part 2 is same for both academic and general, and that's what we are going to be focusing on today. Okay. So who can tell me what is expected of you in the speaking part 2? Who would like to give me an answer? Nobody? Okay. Okay, fine. I'll only give you the answer. So basically in IELTS speaking part 2, you have to give a talk. Okay. And you should be prepared to speak for 2 minutes. So the examiner will ask you to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. But what you do is you have to ignore that and aim to speak for 2 minutes, because 1 minute is not going to be enough. Okay. Basically, a speaking part 2 is a chance for you to show the examiner how well you can talk for an extended period, for a long period of time. So this is your chance, and it's your duty to make use of it. Now, what exactly happens in the IELTS speaking part 2? Anybody wants to answer that question for me?
Can you repeat your question?
What exactly happens in the IELTS speaking part 2?
There is a cue card given to you by the examiner, and there are various topics, and you have to speak on for the around about 2 minutes on that particular topic. So that happen in the IELTS 2, and in the third is a extended conversation with that your examiner in the IELTS speaking part 3.
Yes, wonderful. Now, right now we'll just focus on the speaking part 2. And what was your name? Whoever answered the question, could you please give me your name?
My name is Fasi.
Fasi. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Fasi, for answering the question for us. And your answer is absolutely right. So, in your speaking part 2, you are given a topic card and you're supposed to speak about that. Okay. So you should prepare to speak for 2 minutes, and you will have 1 minute to speak. Okay. So you will have a topic card. The examiner will first hand you a topic card, and looking at the topic card, you will have 1 whole minute to prepare. Now, many of them think your topic card, it'll have a question on top. For example, describe your, favorite trip. That is your question. Below that, you will have prompts. Okay, those are not your questions, those are just prompts. But many of them think that you have to answer the questions given below. No, those questions are there just to help you. Okay, you have to mainly answer the question on top. Now let's assume, okay, that your question says describe your most recent trip. That is your question. Below the prompts are where did you go, okay, who did you go with, and what did you do. These are your prompts. Okay, it is not necessary for you to answer all of these questions. In case you skip out the part of who did you go with, it's not wrong, it's okay, because those questions are there just to help you. They do not determine whether your answer is right or wrong. And you can add more. It's not that you should answer only those three things. You can add more questions like what did you do there, how much fun you had, whether you'll go back there again. You can add all of this. So repeating it again, what the question the question given above is the only thing that you must focus on. The prompts are there just to help you. Okay, now next, you have 1 whole minute to prepare your talk, right? Now in this 1 whole minute to prepare your talk, you have two ways. Generally, these are the two ways that I suggest to my students. One is you can either prepare with the help of a mind map, or you can do hints. It's your choice. Now, to learn more about mind map and hints, we'll cover that in another session. Please, just attend the session so that it's really helpful for you. Yes. Now, after this 1 minute preparation, the examiner will stop you and you will have to speak for 2 minutes. Okay. Many of them think that you have to speak exactly for 2 minutes. No, it's not like that. After 2 minutes, the examiner herself or himself will interrupt you. They will probably ask you an extra question about the topic. Okay. So that's the way of interrupting. And you just have to give a short answer to this question. You don't have to, elaborately describe or go about giving a story for that question, the interruption question. Okay. So this is basically how you go about with the speaking part, task 2. Any doubts so far with the procedure of speaking task 2?
No, you have elaborated very effective and in a proficient way, so it clears all doubts.
Okay, great. So now let's move on to how or what is expected of you to get a band score of 8 and above. Okay, so to get a band score of 8 and above, there are these 4 things that you have to concentrate on, which is extremely important. The first thing is fluency and coherence. See, these 4 topics, once you do really well in all the 4 topics, 8 and above is a guarantee. You lack somewhere in one of the topics, then it becomes 7.5, 7, 6.56. Depends on where where you have to concentrate more. But right now we're talking about the perfect thing. Okay, so fluency and coherence is your first thing that you have to concentrate on. You should speak fluently. Okay, fluency is a very, very important thing. Occasionally hesitation, because you're thinking, that's okay. Like for example, I'm speaking, but occasionally I am using fillers. Fillers generally is this that noise. I am making that noise not because I don't know the language, but because I'm trying to use the correct word to convey something to you more effectively. That is acceptable. Again, for a band 9, you should try avoiding that as well, but that is acceptable. So it's okay to hesitate once in a while, but don't hesitate in such a way that it shows that you don't know the language. Okay, so try to concentrate on that. Now, who can tell me what is the meaning of coherence? Anybody? Okay.
I
Coherence
think
mean how it is
One
connected
at a
with.
time.
Okay. Yes, anyone else?
okay, ma'am. I think coherence is connectors which we use between our conversation.
Okay, you say it's connectors. Okay, I'll give you the answer if that's right or wrong. Yes, Fazhi, right? Yes.
Masuma.
Masuma, yes, Masuma, I'll give you the answer. I think Fazzi also tried to answer, so we'll get him to answer. Then I'll tell you whether the answer was right or wrong.
Okay, coherence means the connection between the sentences to glue them in a proper way.
Great. So both of you have, given quite the right answer. Coherence is basically how your next, Now, say I'm telling you, so today morning I woke up at 6 o'clock, and then, I was just lazing around. And by the time I got to office, it was 9, and then I had to start work. When I'm talking about this, there is, a sequence of events. What if I say I got up at 6 o'clock and then, I had my dinner, but then, it was very late in the morning by the time I got up? There's no continuation. Talking about waking up, then I'm talking about dinner, then I'm talking about going to office. There's no sequence. That is basically coherence. The same thing that both of you said, the connection between your next step, which is very, very important. So fluency and coherence go hand in hand. So your talk should be relevant to your topic. Okay. This is not only applicable for speaking, but for other places as well. It is called task response, where you have to respond to the task, and that is also given marks. Okay. So if I ask you about say, if I say, what's your favorite movie, and you start with, my favorite movie is Frozen 2, and you're continuously talking about Frozen. By the way, Frozen is an animation movie. So you're continuously talking about Frozen, it's okay. But if you say, Frozen 2 is my favorite movie, I like watching it, I always watch it with my daughter, and my daughter is like 2 years old, and then she goes to school, and then she wears a pink dress. See what you've done. From Frozen 2, you have shifted your topic to the daughter, right? So basically, that's not addressing the question. The question is, what is your favorite movie? But actually, you started there, but now you're talking about your daughter. So that's where you lose marks as well. So you have to always stick to the topic. Mentioning that you watched the movie with your daughter is okay. But after that, continuing to speak about your daughter is not very okay. Okay. Next, the second thing is your lexical resources. Now, basically, lexical resources means your vocabulary. Okay. You should use a wide range of language appropriately, and with some idiom, like what to say, idioms and phrases. Okay. Sometimes some mistakes are accepted. Again, this is for band 8 and not band 9. So if you make a mistake, you might get a band 8. For a band 9, you have to be perfect. So your vocabulary needs to show that you can talk about a variety of different topics. Okay. And basically, this just shows the examiner that you are very, very flexible with the language. Okay. Now, the third one is grammar. No language is complete without grammar. Basically, grammar is like a pillar, right? So you should use a wide range of, grammatical structures, and you should have very rare errors. Now, with grammatical structures or a wide range of grammar, I mean, you have to incorporate past tense, present tense, and future tense. You have to, occasionally use active and passive sentences. You have to be able to use, what is that called? See, now I'm forgetting words. Degrees of comparison, where you should be able to, use it in simple comparison and your superlative. You should be able to use all three. So this is what I say when you have to have a mixture of your grammar. Okay. And the last one is pronunciation. Now, your pronunciation should be easy to understand throughout. On the, related to pronunciation, please do not fake an accent. Many of them do that, but do not fake an accent. Accent doesn't matter in your exam. In fact, the more neutral accent you have, the better. And people a little on the Asian side, like South Asia is what I mean. India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, even Thailand and all, they have an accent. But countries like these, okay, they generally don't have an accent. They have a very neutral accent, which is a superb thing. So try using, your neutral accent, try using that to your advantage. Okay. So that it's very clear to understand that is your goal, that is your focus. So you should use a variety of pronunciation features like intonation or, stress, modulation, all of this. Where you have to stress, you have to stress. Where you don't have to stress, you don't have to stress. Not too fast, not too slow. Okay. Speaking too fast will also lower your band score. Speaking too slow also will lower your band score. So you have to be careful about that as well. Okay, these were the 4 things. Any doubts on these? Anybody? Okay, now I'm going to tell you a few topics that generally, these are very, very commonly sought topics in your exam. You very, very, very commonly you get these. So school, study and work. You can even make a note of it if you want to. School, study and work. Then you will have important events or changes in your life, places you've been to or you want to visit in the future, hobbies and free time activities, and maybe sometimes even goals and ambitions. I think that's it. So these are the 5 topics that very, very, often these 5 topics are asked, and you can, maybe prepare a little extra for this. But when it comes to IELTS, you can never predict what you're going to get. You cannot refer old question papers and expect the same thing to be there. But these, you can at least prepare for them. These are kind of common topics. So you can always, use different words and structure your new topic in case. Now, certain tips that I want you to remember, or certain things that I want you to remember so that makes your exam easier. Make notes before you talk. I request you to make notes before you talk. Many of them are really confident and they just read their cue card. They don't really take notes or make notes during that 1 minute time. Don't make that mistake. How much of a confident you are, always make notes. Okay. Next, memorize a good opener. Okay. So how do you start your sentence? How do you open your sentence? That is also important. You can always have one memorized and you can just, alter it according to your need at that time. That will also be helpful. Okay. So starting your talk is difficult. So it'll be good to have a few, openers. I can give you like some examples, maybe like something like, I would like to talk about. So when you say I would like to talk about, automatically what happens? I would like to talk about my pet brownie. I would like to talk about my favorite ice cream, cookies and cream. I would like to talk about my favorite hangout, whatever place, the beach. Okay. So I would like to talk about is one opener. Another one is, okay. There are many favorites I could talk about, but I suppose the topic that I would like to talk about or the dash I have experienced, you can always use this, okay, as an opener. Okay. Next, paraphrase the topic. Again, paraphrases is a very, very common word when it comes to IELTS, but it's also kind of like an important word. Whatever the topic is, just paraphrase it. Okay, who can explain what's paraphrasing here?
Paraphrasing is we should change the statement of the interviewer, and we used our own language to justify the question.
Yes,
Yes.
and I want to speak.
Fuzzy, go on.
Yes, ma'am. Paraphrasing means to regenerate the actual words into your own wording.
Very good. Both of you, again, you both have given me the same answer and the right answer again. That's exactly what paraphrasing is for, those who think it's a new term for them. Paraphrasing basically is, to just use the same thing but with different words in your own language to, just give it a new sense. That's all. So paraphrase the topic always, not only for speaking, but also when it comes for your writing exam, especially.
It gives the uniqueness.
Exactly. It gives you a uniqueness. It gives you a new perspective to the same question. Okay. Next, keep talking. Do not stop. Okay. Many of them try to stop by 2 minutes. They're worried that they might exceed the time. Don't be worried. Just keep talking. Okay. You just don't have to worry about the time. The examiner will stop you after 2 minutes. You just have to understand that the examiner is stopping you and you have to stop. And before stopping, try to conclude. For example, I'm continuously speaking and the examiner says, like I'm saying something, that was a wonderful trip. I'm still thinking about it. I had ice cream that day and I'm saying this. And the examiner says, okay, 2 minutes is up. Immediately what you do is, that was the best ice cream. I can't wait to have it again. Conclude. As soon as they say stop, conclude. Fuzzy, you've raised your hand. Yes, please tell me.
Yes, ma'am. I have a question for you. So, can I ask you a question?
Can we keep the questions to the end?
Oh no, I have the same question regarding to your statement.
Okay.
But
Yes.
if we have the question answer session in the end, so we will talk at that.
If it's related,
I don't
and you
want to
think
interrupt.
no, if it's related and you think it might contribute, then please go ahead.
So, ma'am, I have a question that if we keep on speaking in the session, so isn't it a little bit to worry about the sentence structures and the vocabulary, that if you want to continuously speak, you may forget your proper sentence structure and the tenses and the vocabulary.
Okay. Now this is a
But so
problem. Yes,
there
go
is,
ahead.
there is an importance of the silence as well. So it doesn't mean that you have to be silent for 5 to 10 seconds, but take some breath. Some your composure, your voice composure will give another flavor to your speaking. So don't be hesitant, and don't go for just continue speaking. Just be humble. Have a good pace of your voice, and just keep flowing. The flowing and the fluency is a better word rather than to keep on speaking. So I have my perception. If you have some other perception and if you rectify this, so it would be great for all of us. Thank you, ma'am.
No, that's great, Fuzzy. What you're saying makes complete sense. But here, what I'm trying to say is what Fuzzy is saying is completely true. Please, give a few seconds gap in between when you're speaking. That is there. But when I say speak continuously, what I mean is do not keep thinking, okay, 2 minutes is up, 1.5 minute, 1 minute 40 seconds, 1 minute 50 seconds. It's gonna be 2 minutes. Don't think that. Keep speaking. Let the examiner stop you because you cannot make the mistake of stopping before 2 minutes. If you stop before 2 minutes, it shows as if you have run out of ideas and you cannot speak. You are not very comfortable with the language. Okay. But the way Fuzzy said, in case you speak in between, what happens is, in case you have pauses in between, what happens is, it just shows the examiner that you're comfortable and you are just, giving a few seconds to gather your thoughts. Yes, Fuzzy.
Yes, if we have construction and division like this, if we divide our, for example, if you say that visit to a place or something else, which, so if we divide it into the three sections, for example, the past, present, and the future, that I went there with my friends and I enjoyed it a lot, and you talk about the present and you talk about the future about it, that I would like to go for another type of visit with my friends. That was a very remarkable or memorable day in my life. So if we divide it in this way, so shouldn't it be sufficient for all of us to speak fluently for more than 2 minutes?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say, Fuzzy. That when you do things like this, automatically you tend to speak for more than 2 minutes, which is okay. It's okay to speak for more than 2 minutes. Do not stop beforehand. That's exactly what I'm trying to convey. Thank you, Fuzzy. Okay. So now that you have got this point about, not stopping prior, we'll move on to the next thing. Now, this is a fun thing that I tell my students. Lie. Yes. It's okay to lie on your exam. Okay. Don't lie with facts. Please don't play with facts. But the examiner really doesn't care if it's true or false. So it's okay to lie. For example, the examiner asks you, um, have you traveled by ship before? How did you like the experience? Now, for those who have not traveled by ship or aeroplane or whatever the question is, if you tell your examiner, I have never traveled by an aeroplane before, that's all. Your talk is cut there. You don't have further things to speak about. So you can always say, I traveled by ship, maybe last year, and I had a wonderful experience. I did get a little seasick, but otherwise it was a superb experience. And the view, of the sunset and the sunrise from the ship deck was so beautiful. You don't have to experience all of this to, actually say it. You would have seen it in movies and you would have read it in books. You can always just, build up stories as long as you have content to speak. That is what is necessary. Okay. Yes, Fuzzy, go on.
Sorry to interrupt you for many times. Apologies for that. But
No,
I
that's
have
fine.
some
Please go
questions
on.
and
Yes.
curiosity in my mind. So I would like to question you for this, because you are an IELTS expert and you have some expertise, and we are here to get some drops of your knowledge, and it will be a very good for all of us. So I am not dragging the things more. So there is a simple thing for all of us, that if we build up the things, if we, for example, if we lie to build up our conversation. So I have a personal experience that I have applied for the army, and there was a person and there was a boy who said that I am uh, he wrote in that his likeness that I like to travel a lot. And whenever, and afterwards, after the 2 days of the training, when the officer asked him that, he dragged him, not the specifically directly he questioned him, but he dragged him to that, do you like to travel? And he said, no, sir, I don't like to travel. I remain at my home. So that line rejected him. So what do you think that if we build up the stories and the thing that it wouldn't be a negative perspective for all of us?
Fuzzy, you're talking about the army and talking about the IELTS exam. They're totally two different things. It doesn't matter. You're not going to meet your IELTS examiner again. And of course, the army requires you to be honest. The IELTS exam doesn't care what you're speaking about. It cares how you convey something. They don't care what you're doing with your life or what exactly, how many experiences you have had. They just want to see if you have enough knowledge of the language, if you, to help you survive in their country. That is all they want, to see if you can answer a question and ask a question when you go to their country. That is all they require. So they are not going to be worried about your, experiences or what you've been through in life. So it's okay.
Yes, it's all okay. You have elaborated in very proficient and clear way. Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So we'll just, we'll just wind up the webinar here today. And there have been many topics that you might have questions about and doubts about. So you can always, just check our website, www.redfoxeducation.com. And you can also check out our mobile app, which is available both in the App Store and the Play Store, because you'll have a lot of material. You will also have a lot of contests, IELTS contests, and you also have exciting prizes for that. So you can check that out as well. And you can also check our Facebook and Insta page. So we have 3 IELTS courses right now. And all of these courses, you have mock sessions with British tutors, and you have, one-on-one sessions on request. You have a lot of worksheets, pre-recorded videos, and all of these are live sessions, by the way. So it's like a complete package that will be really very, very helpful in case you're giving your IELTS exam. And most importantly, you will have a wonderful partner to practice with. Your tutor, your teacher will help you throughout your journey. So if there's anything, just drop us a message or send us a mail and we'll immediately get back to you. Thank you. I had fun at the webinar. I hope you all enjoyed too.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you very much for being here. And you are from the India, and I always admire the Indian fellows and appreciate them because of the culture and glorious heritage. And I have one last question that because of the I got accidentally about your live webinar, so how I can get connected with you in the future? So
Okay. Okay, Fuzzy, could you do you mind dropping your contact details in the chat box?
okay, ma'am, I will drop it.
You can just send us a mail. I've sent you details in the chat box. If you can check that. There's our number. You also have our mail ID, so you can, send us a message on that number.
Okay, ma'am, I will do it.
Send us a mail and we will put you in the WhatsApp group where you can, get access to the webinars. Okay.
Thank you very much for your time and your patience and your knowledge sharing with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye.